Okay, so E3 is pretty damn important. It sets up what we have to expect for the next year. This time the only thing that we're supposed to anticipate is Project Z or Kakarot. So let's talk about that, but before I need to mention a couple of things. I'm going to be reacting, criticizing, expressing my thoughts on IGN'S Interview, and I'm going to leave the link to this MVP interview in the description below. You might also hear me comparing this game to One Piece World Seeker because, for me at least, this is the last memorable attempt of popular anime, the likes of DBZ, to create an open world like this, which is not an easy task. Also, I'm not really systemizing what I'm doing. I'm going from note to note, from thought to thought that appeared to my head, and try to make something cohesive out of it. Oh, and I know I'm taking a lot of time, but bear with me. One last thing. I'm trying to be very attentive to the footage that I'm watching, but I'm not. So if I make a wrong conclusion out of something, or I did not notice something, then please forgive me. Don't dislike my shit, that's so important to me. Let's begin. Right up front, objects of my attention disjoint. You look at the minimap, a bunch of icons there. Goku's leveling up system, meters going down, going up, you have the Nimbus, you have the regular flying, everyone's talking all at the same time, but even the commentator is like, the first thing that I want to mention is the sheer volume that this game has. So I've been rewatching this first minute to kind of grasp the things that I think are the most interesting, in particular, a dinosaur! It allures me so much because in World Seeker they completely missed out on flora and fauna despite it being one of the key elements of One Piece universe, and in this game, instead of putting random jobbers like pirates and marines everywhere, they watched the show and understood that for whatever the fuck reason this world is filled with dinosaurs and dogmen like resident people.
When you're speaking about collecting, you're able to move around this whole world and interact with a lot of different PvE monsters, like you said, the deers right there, not necessarily canon in the Dragon Ball Z world.
I am here.
It's also peculiar that it didn't attack Goku straight away, and neither did the bot that they were supposed to attack for the quest. It makes me ask oneself if this is all just illusion, just Goku traveling around from point to point, doing some activities, or this is a real living world where some bizarre things can happen. In case you didn't understand, we're like, oh, bizarre? What is this? I have never experienced bizarre. What do you mean? I mean situations like where you walk around and then suddenly see two AIs fighting for something that they found on the ground, and then suddenly a third AI jumps in, or this guy slides in, whatever. It doesn't matter if it's just because AI is dumb, or it's because it's glitches, or it's because it's a scripted event. Something must happen. Notably, I want this to happen in empty parts of the world, because when you look at the minimap, you can see that some parts are heavily filled with some activities, icons, whatever, and some parts are just complete wastelands, and when you look at them, you feel that, oh shit, they're maybe dead. This type of empty space is the base of World Seeker, and it shouldn't be like this in Dragon Ball. Huge part is a fighting sequence against a robot, or two robots. Piccolo takes out the second one so fast that you don't even get to see him. Associated with that are usually reactions that say wow, 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 and all of the compliments because it looks good, but if you're familiar with Storm series, you know what's up. CC2 is famous for making things look pretty, but they have no depth. The catch is that there are also animations that you're going to see a lot, because those are basic animations, and because there is no depth in linking them together or achieving them, there is no satisfaction in doing them multiple times. That's why boredom hits really fast and combat becomes repetitive. My Fool's Paradise here relies on the progression system by virtue of pure vastness. if Goku has around 100 moves that you can equip and unequip as your special moves, then it changes everything, along with the supports that you can semi-control, adding to the equation unique animations per boss battles and their favorite quick-time events. This should be an enjoyable experience all throughout, without any noticing of repetitiveness of the animations. I'm still trying to stay 60% negative and 40% positive because that's an anime title and because it's CC2 and they like to throw dust in your eyes before they uncover the brokenness of the game itself. Although it is hard to stay negative when you see Goku plugging his tail back into his butt to fish. What the fuck?
But there is a very good explanation for that. So if you play the game, I assure you, it will be justified.
I think the main problem with this game is Goku. It's like making a Superman game. He's just way too overpowered for his world. In the beginning of Z, he was already the strongest being on the planet, along with Piccolo, and he's already on your team. So fighting dinosaurs? Dinosaurs should run away from you. I mean, if this was original Dragon Ball, maybe they were a threat, but DBZ? You're like a manifestation of a meteorite. What can they do to you? The same goes for everything but bosses, so only guys like Raditz, Frieza, Cell could pose a threat, and all the robots and all of that other stuff. It doesn't matter. That's why this game relies solely on something bizarre, boss battles. And in order to do that, you have to possess some abnormal level of creativity. It's not like One Piece, where the world itself is bizarre and basically throws ideas for you to put them in the game. In Dragon Ball, you don't have that. It's mostly just fighting and getting stronger via training. I suppose this is just the part where you have to put some faith into the company that is making the game, and this is CC2. We are familiar with CC2 on this channel. And right from the top of my head, if somebody asked me, can they pull this off? I would say, yeah. Usually, CC2 does great story modes, especially in terms of boss battles and quick time events. It looks gorgeous, everyone's amazed. But if you ask somebody, what was your favorite Storm game story-wise? 90% of answers will either be Storm 1 or Storm 2, and most of them will be Storm 1. I say this so that you understand that they haven't really improved ever since on the formula, they just stayed good at it. And we need some further beyond type of shit right here. Can they do this? Yes. But are there big chances that they're going to do this? What we can tell already is that this open world is not really an open world, it's more like limited sections that you're allowed to travel within rather than just one big world where you can travel as far as the eyes can see. I'm fine with that, as long as they're filled with something bizarre and entertaining. I also wanted to say a couple of words about progression system, but I don't think I understand it correctly. What we've seen is Goku eating meat that he has just farmed from the antelopes to get the up to his stats, but shouldn't you just be able to wait till they respawn and then do this all over again and keep doing this over and over until bosses doesn't matter anymore because you're level 90 billion? While also still being at the Raditz chapter, they do not have fear of exploits or something like that? I don't know. And here is that. The far more interesting part for me was the boss battle, the Raditz battle. It had 13 health bars. Maybe even more. Give me a sec. It had 16 health bars. That's a lot. They didn't even finish the boss fight because it took so long to beat him, and he kept doing different attacks, and Goku kept unlocking something that I'm not sure if that was unique for the boss battle, or you can use this all the time. Kinda disencouraging that the boss battle itself seemed not challenging at all. I mean, player was just rushing him all the time, and Raditz barely attacked. Even though attacks that he did were unique most of the time, they were easily avoidable or blockable, and there was no threat to the player whatsoever. Maybe it was because it's just Raditz, but then again, back in the anime, Raditz was a huge threat that killed Goku. That, along with how they keep repeating that they want to be very true to the canon and the recreation of the Dragon Ball, he should have been a Dark Souls boss.
There's a lot of very meticulously recreated scenes from the original story that people are going to recognize and very much look forward to, as well as some scenes that haven't really been depicted in the way that they have in this game. So there's going to be a lot of firsts, I think, for some people. We wanted to stay very true to the Dragon Ball Z universe. We tried to stay very, very true to the Dragon Ball Z experience. So as if you picked up the manga and read it, we wanted to recreate that as accurately as possible. I don't think we're going to leave the fans disappointed. So I think we didn't want to really skimp on any element of being, immersed in the body of Goku. So of course we saw him fishing and eating earlier, as well as